Welcome to Sistah's Conversations podcast with your hostess, Tracee Carter. We feature interviews in literary, film, and television, as well as real topics that impact the Black community.
Welcome to Sistah's Conversations. I am your hostess, Tracee Carter, and on today's Real Talk, we want to talk about a very hot topic, and it's been debated several times. And the topic is why Black women are the most disrespected. There was a podcast that I listened to by Harold Fisher. The title was Black Women Disrespected, Unprotected, and Neglected. And it was published in October of 2020 last year. And he did a two-part series, one with the women's, and then the second one was with Black men. So I want us to chime in and have a conversation about this particular topic. Now, he quoted Malcolm X, who said this in 1962. The most neglected person in America is the Black woman. The most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the Black woman. Black women who were unprotected, just to name a few: Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland. There were over 45 Black women who were killed by police that will fall into this category. Now, on today's show, I have a nice panel. I have guests Marcie Hill, Stephanie Adams, Jeanee Patton, and April Patterson, who have joined me so that we can sit and have a real conversation and talk about this topic. Ladies, welcome to Sistah's Conversations.
Hey, Tracee, thank you for having me.
Hey, yes, thank you for having me.
Oh, you guys are
excited. I was excited when you reached out. So, you know, I'm a fan of you and your platform. So this is great.
Thank you. All right. So I'm going to pose these questions to you ladies, and let's talk about it. So like I said, Malcolm X said he said those statements over 58 years ago. And here we are in 2021, and Black women are still the most disrespected, neglected, and unprotected. How does that make each of you feel? And let's start with April.
Let's see. So, as you mentioned, this is April. I think for me, how do I feel about that? You know, I think that mainly it really just makes me more tenacious to really push through and to go after life as hard as I do. Obstacles and all of the, the disrespect that we, I guess, experience from the men, because mainly it is from the men a lot of the times within society. I really think it's the disrespect that has given me the drive to push as hard as I do as a businesswoman, as a mom. I'm currently single, but even as a mate, I just really want to execute. But then on the flip side, it can be very tiresome because you're always on and feeling like you're in combat mode and always on defense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Stephanie, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I can kind of piggyback off of what April said. I oftentimes feel that way. I feel like I can be on guard at times, and I actually have to speak myself out of that type of mindset. I think that, for me, I'm just thinking of in the workplace, mm-hmm. and just the obstacles that are there for me as a Black woman, mm-hmm. And the expectations that are placed on me compared to my peers, my non-Black peers. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think it's one of those things where you have to say, well, I know that, I'm not going to let this affect me. I'm going to, as April said, continue to push through and just be the best person that I can be.
Mm-hmm.
And, and just be honest about what's happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeanee, go ahead.
Thank you. I have to say that I'm saddened by all of this because I have a daughter, and this is not what I want my daughter to experience, but this is her reality. It's my reality. The Black woman has always been on the front lines fighting for justice for everyone. We're treated differently when we express our concerns to doctors. They don't want to hear about our pain because apparently maybe to them, they think that we can just withhold or withstand so much pain that we don't have to have pain medication. Mm-hmm. We're not listened to. In the workplace, we have to act a certain way because if we raise our voice or voice our concerns, we are sometimes labeled as difficult. Mm-hmm. We have to be perfect at all times. And in that perfection, we are self-sabotaging ourselves. Mm-hmm. We are never allowed to just be. And when I say just be, I mean we are not allowed to shine without criticism. Mm-hmm. We are always disrespected. Mm-hmm. And it has to change. And the change must start with us.
Absolutely. 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 Marcie, what do you have to say about that statement? How does it make you feel?
Okay, so I'm an avid reader, right? Mm-hmm. And I've read a lot of books about Black women in America. And even though Malcolm X spoke that 58 years ago, that's always been our reality here in the United States. Mm-hmm. So to know that it's happening today is disappointing because that's the system on which everything was built. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the only way it will change is if we have to do things individually. Mm-hmm. Because we can't, collectively, we'll just be a group of angry Black women if we try to do anything to progress, right? So we have to take, and I feel like to be most effective, unfortunately, we have to take situations individually, how we react to them as opposed to doing things as a group.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I think, I know this sounds bad, but as we are in individual situations, that's for us to take action. Then we call our troops. Mm-hmm. But to just go out armed as a group of Black women, I don't know how serious, how the reaction would be and how disrespected and ignored we would be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And we have Tracee Johnson joining us now. Tracee, how, to piggyback on the question that we just posed to all the rest of the women in the panel, Black women are the most disrespected and neglected and unprotected. How does that make you feel? Here we are 58 years later, Malcolm X said this in 1962. So how does that make you feel? Here we are in 2021.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. Can you hear me? Am I audible? Can you hear me? Okay. How do I feel? It's very disheartening that we stand here right now and still fighting the same issues that we have fought literally coming back from slave days. But how does it make me feel? It's disheartening, but from another view lens for me, I don't worry about that. And I don't say that lightly to minimize what's going on. I just know that I surround my village with people who support me and people who are going to aid me in making a change. I don't want to get so buried down on the problem that I don't have enough energy to focus on a solution. So it bothers me, but it doesn't stop me or it doesn't hinder me because If you just focus on the problem, I don't have enough energy to focus on propelling not only myself, but the other little black little girls who look just like me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, we all know some men in America look down. Well, it's not that they look down on us. They look at us as being too aggressive, too outspoken. But Black women are the most educated in America. When I was doing a little research, and I was like, wow, that was, it made me smile. But then at the same time, us being Black women, we're the most educated, but yet we have to fight twice, 3 times as hard in the boardroom. We have to fight twice, 2, 3 times as hard for equal pay when it comes to our peers. So with that being said, do you all think that they feel threatened by our intelligence? Because we are beautiful, strong, independent, authentic Black women that we hold our own.
So this is April. I do think that there is a level of intimidation from just our male counterparts, whether they be Black or white, mm-hmm. and from our female counterparts, whether they be Black or white. Mm-hmm. I know that as Black people, we can be really hard on each other. I've experienced that. I've been guilty of that. Mm-hmm. So the intimidation piece of it, so it's like so many layers to this. Like, we were early on, the home was disbanded. The men were taken from the home. Then the women had to be strong. And so that is all we know, mm-hmm. right? So as a culture, we are very passionate when we speak. Everything about our dialect is, there's strength in our dialect. There's strength in everything that we do, the way that we pursue relationships, parenting, going shopping, like everything that so when they see people or society sees us coming, we saw it with, Kamala Harris, right? Mm-hmm. It wasn't about Biden, right. Really. It was more so Black woman in the White House, right? So I just think that, there's this target on us. It is what it is, unfortunately, is in terms of how do we change that and why it is the way that it is, because it's been that way since the beginning of time. Mm-hmm. And we were set up for that. Can we change it? I would say with the young lady that just spoke before me, sorry, I forgot her name, but
Tracee.
April. Yep.
Hey, so
hey.
Tracee?
Tracee, I don't know. Do we know each other?
Okay, I do know another Tracee, and I was like, I wonder if it's the same. Okay, so anyway, you sound familiar, but I do feel like, as Tracee mentioned, to try to focus on that and put our energy in that, it's probably not the best approach. However, what is the best approach? Because as it stands right now, we do everything. It's every woman for themselves, right? Every Black woman for themselves. So I do feel as though it's our responsibility as Black women to do a better job at banding together, because we've done the opposite for so long. Mm-hmm. I think that as it relates to how men receive us as Black women, when I feel like society and men and, white people, when they see us not getting along or not pulling each other up, but tearing each other down, then they follow suit. So if they see us not really doing the things that we are conducting ourselves in a way that we expect people to treat us, if we're not doing that within our own culture and with each other, how do we expect society or anyone else around us to really conduct themselves accordingly?
Okay. Marcie, you want to jump in here? Your thoughts?
Okay, I had to figure out what my unmute button was. I feel like I think people are just intimidated by our presence in general because we are beautiful, we are intelligent, we have the whole package. And you have those stereotypes that people want to believe based on what society says. But then when you see a sister walk in the room, and I don't care how short or tall she is, our eyes go to her. And I mean, that's been my experience. Now, how they want to perceive her otherwise or treat her otherwise, that's individual. But ultimately, I think people are just intimidated by Black women because of our strength. Mm-hmm. Because you see a lot of single moms. A lot of people can't do that. I mean, well, a lot of people haven't been doing it. We've done it, historically speaking, not because we've always wanted to, but sometimes we've had to. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm going to wrap that up now. But yes, I think they're just intimidated by us, our total presence, because we are a total package, an amazing, beautiful, intelligent package.
Well, thank you, Marcie. Jeanee?
Hello.
Hello.
Well, just to piggyback off of that, I will say that honestly, Black women are a force to be reckoned with. And that can be intimidating by men and women. Mm-hmm. But I have to pose this question. Does that mean that we shrink ourselves to make others feel comfortable? No. I think not. Right. Do we not use our voice because someone can't handle our truth? Mm-hmm. See, the Black woman, we're not going to give up. We're not going to stop. We're going to just keep going. You know, we can get knocked down 1,000 times and we will still rise. You cannot hold us down. And because of that, that is intimidating to other people who don't understand who we truly are. Mm-hmm. It's in our DNA from birth. It's from our ancestors. We will not give up. And so that is intimidating to others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I got you. Stephanie.
Whoops. Okay. I had a Marcie issue. I couldn't find my mute. Intimidation. Well, I think that there probably are. I definitely have had the experience at work where someone had mentioned the word intimidating in regards to me, and I actually had a situation with our local police officer who said that, he felt threatened by me. Now, mind you, I'm barely 5'4", right? I'm not intimidating anyone. I think the situation at work, it just kind of goes with that stereotype of the angry Black woman. Mm-hmm. And so if I am speaking up about, something that, whether I'm passionate about it or, it's something I'm really, really strongly feeling like we should move forward with, it's taken as aggression, and therefore I'm intimidating. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I definitely think that there are situations where others will feel intimidated by me just because I'm Black. But it's all too exhausting to keep thinking about that. So the question of should we minimize ourselves? Absolutely not. I think we should continue to be outspoken and speak up in things that we're passionate about. I too would like to see us as Black women, especially in the workplace, build better relationships, trusting relationships, supporting one another. Because I know in every organization that I've went to, I've found that my white peers would approach me quicker than my Black peers. Now, that's just been my experience. There's just this this immediate whatever their reason is. It's like, Black woman, whether it's, we can't be seen together, or she may take my job, or whatever the situation would be. So I definitely would like to see more, more relationship building in that area. But but absolutely, there are times where people may feel intimidated. But it's it's how you respond to it that makes a difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tracee, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I think, a little bit of your panel's thought, that I would just piggyback off of everything. And I'm not sure if you guys watch Blackish or Mixish or, but I am pretty much like Keenan Bird. I pretty much say everything goes back to slavery. Like, it literally goes back to slavery. And as April stated, that taking it back, because what we're seeing now is the symptom of everything else. So if we take it all the way back to the root, let's take it all the way back to the root. And the root coming here, and not coming here out of love, but out of pure just hate and just nastiness and just downright evil. Coming from a place like that, Black women, to me, I don't know so much if I would use the word intimidating, and are people intimidated by us? I think Black women are literally magical unicorns. And I know that sounds crazy, but it kind of comes back to what some of the other panelists stated, that how do you have a woman, just her husband's taken out the house, he's out gone months, you got to raise your children, you raising master's children, you're nursing master's kids, you nursing your own kids. We are these magical unicorns that, as we stand here as phoenixes and we continue to rise, I don't know if it's intimidation or if it's just them being in pure awe of, like, how does this person stand here? And I know, and I always say, don't get mad at me when you had a 300-year head start and I caught up with you. You lazy, that's not my problem. And you're not going to make me feel bad that I went to school, that I educated myself, that, I bought a home, or whatever the things pretty much that the American dream told me to do to be a viable citizen in society. Now that I adhere to it, now you want to say that I'm aggressive, I'm mean. No. I'm living the same rules. Becky I'm doing the same thing that Becky's doing, but you're looking at me like, how are you able to do it? I'm able to do it in spite of everything, every obstacle that you try to put ahead of me. So do I think that they're intimidated? I don't know if they're intimidated. I think that they're in awe. Like, how, in spite of everything, they continue to educate themselves. They continue to educate their children. They continue to love themselves. They continue to rise. So for me, I don't think that they're intimidated. I think they're looking at a walking unicorn. That's how I look at it.
Okay. I like that thought. Just to piggyback off of everyone, I feel like because we are a people that have been through hell and back, I want to say, and yet our counterparts are looking at us like, how the hell are they still getting up? We're not only getting up, we're passing that legacy down to our children. We're educating them, because education is powerful. That knowledge, that's power. And that is what we are instilling in our children, because we're breaking that generational curse. We are not slaves. We may be descendants from slaves, but we are not slaves, and we don't have that mentality. And we are teaching our children to do the same. We're teaching them to rise above, especially our girls. And being a mother myself, I tell my daughter, she can do anything a man can do. You can get just as much education and you can rise. Look, you come to the table. If you got to bring a table to the table, you come to the table. You got this. And same thing for myself, all of us are educated. We are smart. We're intelligent, and we are rising. And yes, I look at my peers, and they look at me like, how did you get promoted in less than a year? I work hard. I bust my butt. And we as Black women, we have to work. I feel like we have to work 30 times as hard to get that promotion. I was doing the same thing for 2 years, and I was like, okay, I'm finally getting promoted. But, I've been doing this since day one, since I walked in the door. We have to work so hard. And one of you said that, we as Black women in the workplace together, we do need to come together. I don't like those little cliques that we form in the office, because our counterparts are looking at us like, there they go, forming that little clique. You looking down on your own sister, when instead you need to be picking her up. We supposed to reach back. What is it? What's the saying? Reach back, teach one, lift us up. That's what we should be doing as Black women. And so that we can eliminate this whole, by us being the most disrespected in America. Now, I'm going to pose this question to you ladies. How do we get rid of the disrespect? How do we eliminate people disrespecting us, whether it be Black men, white men, society? How do we eliminate, that being disrespected so much?
Ooh, look at me. I couldn't wait to come off mute.
I'm telling you, this has been definitely me.
I'm so ready.
No, I'm sitting here like,
Miss April, I think you already had the flow.
She always go first. I was thinking, I was like, who Latrice gonna pick first this time?
Okay, come on, Stephanie. Come on.
I'll let Tracee.
Go, Tracee. You want to go, Tracee? Go on, Tracee.
It ain't your turn, April. No, ma'am. You talking about lifting sisters up. And I was like, April already had the turn. Look, here, I'm keeping. April did. She went first. No.
Go ahead, Tracee.
Go ahead, Tracee.
April. I'm gonna stand back. If she hit that button, I'm gonna go.
Did all that.
You know what? Let me tell. Okay, so look, just for the sake of moving this thing along, I'm gonna try to keep it real short. When it comes to our brothers, listen, and listen clearly. I want everybody out there to hear me clearly, and the brothers, y'all better listen up. Black women, they will give you what you take. They will treat you in the way that you respond. Stop accepting the behavior, stop accepting the treatment, and stand for something. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So I will tell you, I'm going to stop here. The women that tolerate the foolishness from the men, that's all on you. I'm sorry. I just really I've been single for a long time. Really. And it's not on purpose, because I am dating with a purpose, but it's because I will not settle. I just will not. I will not settle. I have settled before, and I know where that has gotten me. Heartbroken. I'm picking up the crumbs. Guess what? Guess what's happening? He done moved on. And even if it's in the workplace, you better have your dignity, because that's all you have. That's it. Your morals, your values, and your dignity. And if you don't know how to do it, look at the woman who looked like she might be getting it right and start asking questions. Go get you some therapy and stop running around here all crazy and stuff. Get yourself together with these men out here. Like, it's just enough. When we get ourselves together and band together in terms of that, even like if as women, we take care of each other. Like if your man is cheating on you and I know he's cheating on you, guess what? You might get mad at me, but I'm going to let you know. If I'm going to stop cheating with your man on you. Like, let's stop it. You got a woman, go home. You stop beating on my sister, I'm going to call the cops. Like, stop acting like if you see something, hear something, say something. It's time out. It is time out. As y'all can see, I'm passionate about that. So, Tracee, go ahead, girl.
Go, Tracee.
Well, pretty much ditto what Miss April said, but like I said, for me, that is one of my hot buttons. That I will come back. I know it sounds very, very self-centered, but it is more self-preservation and not being self-centered. And excuse my potty mouth, I don't give a rat's butt about nobody else except me, because this is my thing. If I'm whole and I'm whole and I'm good with myself, I'm able to deal with the world. I don't need the outside world to validate me. I don't need a man to validate me. I don't need a job to validate me. I'm going to tell you this. At this point, God's mercy and God's grace, I'll be 53 years old, and I don't need my parents to validate me anymore. And like Miss April said, that we need to stop worrying about if KK and Man like me, or if Becky like me, or even if Tisha like me. I don't care. But because if I stay true to myself, when they're coming at me for whatever reason, I'm whole. I'm okay. Because if I start changing for KK, then I'm this way with this person and I'm this way. It's too much changing, and we get lost in that. But if you stay true to who you are, you stay true to who you are. And I'm going to tell you, you are going to lose friends, you're going to lose jobs, and you're going to lose promotions. And it is what it is. This is my thing. Everybody's not destined to be a puppy. Everybody's not destined to be a Kamala. But you can be the best April. You can be the best Stephanie. And just focus on that, because once you realize your true worth and your value, that's how we change it. That's how we stop it. And then also, and I'm going to throw it back on some of the women too. Let's stop worrying about somebody disrespecting us. And why don't we stop disrespecting ourselves? And I know that may sound judgy. But, and I'm going to tell you this, I'm ashamed to say it, because I will do a little shake my little hip. That doggone City Girl song, Flued Out, cracks me up. But I'm going to tell you, that's my little ratchet song. But this is the thing. If you listen to the lyrics, they are looking for everybody to do something for them. They looking for a man with 6 figures. They looking for a man. Stop worrying about what they doing. If you can't get 6 figures, get 5. Stop worrying about somebody else's money. Because guess what? When you so focused on somebody else's money, the things you got to do to get $4, baby.
Oh, you got to come out. Preach.
It ain't worth what you got to do to get $4. Get your own $2 and
get your own.
Get your own $2 and figure out how to get your other 2 and stop worrying about somebody else's. Hence, now I've got to look at April crazy, because now she in the clique, and I'm like, well, how'd she get over there? Now I got to roll my eyes. But see, if I'm coming in with my own $4, I'm not worried about April. I'm not disrespecting. I'm not dismissing her. But the thing is that now we're not in this competition, because I'm able to say, you know what, girl, you ain't even got to do this anymore. Let me show you how to do X, Y, and Z. But unfortunately, it becomes generational, because if my grandmama was stank, and then she raised a stank daughter, and now I'm stank, it's somewhere in there that it becomes so normal to you that you think it's normal, but it's not. It's very disheartening that, and where you all were saying that a white person will come to you before a black person, I will speak to black women, and literally they will look me in the face and not say something, but say something to a white woman. Oh, good morning. Hey, good morning. How are you? Why is that? So somebody who looks just like me.
That's exactly the point I was making.
Say, good morning. Good morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they give you the little $2 fake smile, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, you like that. Now I'm not speaking to you anymore. But then if we're all at the elevator and it's a white woman, I'm like, hey, good morning. Now you want to look at me like I'm stepping infected, but you done forgot yesterday you ain't speak to me, but you thought I wasn't going. You thought that you had that much value in my life. I wasn't going to talk. No, I'm just not going to talk to you, and I'm going to talk to somebody else. And then that. So what is Black women? What are we doing that we're fighting each other and we don't even know each other?
Girl, it's a mess. a mess.
It is. It is.
It's a mess.
It is. Come on, Stephanie.
Well, first of all, I just want to say, Tracee, see, the problem may be that you messing with KK and Man. I'm like, no, she didn't say KK and Man.
Yes, she did.
KK and Man.
But sometimes it's not even KK and Man, though. I'm going to tell you something. That is, I get that, but there are women who are just as well versed, articulate, business owners. There are C-suite women out there who literally look for the meal ticket from the man. The sense of entitlement is crazy to me. I don't know how we ended up there, but it bothers me. And Stephanie, I just stepped all in your. I'm so sorry. I stepped all into because that sense of entitlement. Listen, the women out there, listen up. Stop looking for the man to take care of you. Stop looking for the man to take you out on that dinner 5 days a week and pay your bills and buy you the bags and the shoes and take care of yourself. The reason why they don't respect us is because we have no, what is that? What is that? Stephanie, I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay, honey. You're passionate about it. I believe
Girl,
that when you're passionate about, like I said earlier, you just gotta.
Good
yeah,
God.
you just gotta speak on what you're passionate about. It's all good. What I was going to say, as far as the respect. Well, before I go into that, just the one last thing that that Tracee mentioned about the elevator conversation, and I was the one who brought that up, right? About how I felt in the workplace that it would be nice to have Black women more united and, be more approachable and support each other. And the experience I had with basically every organization that I went to, my approach is a little different though. So when I experience that, where a Black woman is kind of standoffish, I actually try to get to know her. I try to figure out, especially depending on the age too, if it turns out she's younger than me, then maybe there's some mentoring that needs to happen. Maybe she experienced something at her past job and now she's got this guard up and she needs to know that, not all Black women are that way. I've had people tell me that Black women tell me that when they first saw me, I looked like I wasn't approachable or snobbish or standoffish. And then once they got to know me, they found out, oh, wow, like she's cool, which, I am. Mm-hmm. So, but that took me going to them and saying, hey, what, and speaking about what I observed. And then, if I have that conversation and they're still kind of standoffish, then I let it go. But, I'm going to at least try to figure out, and that may not be everyone's, approach or, feel like that's their, I just feel like that's my calling. That's my thing that I like to do. But as far as the respect, I for me to kind of combat that, I feel like, well, first of all, I believe more in actions. So I think that my actions are going to speak louder than my words. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to speak on things. I'm definitely going to be outspoken about how I feel. I believe in treating others how they treat you. Yes, I believe that we need to earn respect. And so I'm not one of those people that automatically, just walks in and says, oh, I'm not I demand respect person. So I kind of have a different point of view from the ladies. It's like, I know that I am worthy of respect, but I don't just walk in and be like, you're going to respect me. I want to get to, build the relationship, and then let my actions speak for itself. I think being consistent, saying what I mean, and meaning what I say. I think those type of things help with, just the getting the respect up and setting those boundaries up front, so people know, don't cross this line. Yeah. So anyway, that just the question was, how would we deal with the disrespect, or how do we stop the disrespect, right?
How do we get our respect?
Yeah. So those are just some of the things that I would do. And one last thing, you know what? I'm not perfect. So if I make a mistake, I'm gonna admit that I made a mistake. So
okay. Yeah. Marcie.
Now I have to go after everybody with that all of these overly passionate women, and I'm last on this topic. Oh my goodness,
Marcie, what you?
So the only thing I'm just gonna say, yeah, what they said.
Listen, I'm sure you have something to add. I'm sure.
Well, the only thing I wanted to say was, first, as someone stated, know yourself, respect yourself, because ultimately you train others how to treat you. Now, with law enforcement, that's different because we have no control over those situations. But in workplaces, and I work for the government, so I don't have the same experiences that you guys have. And I feel really bad for, now I won't say feel bad for Stephanie, but it seems like they just come at Stephanie because it sounds like she has a small voice and stuff. And then I think they come after her because of that. But then she might have a big roar. And I hope she attacks them. But you train people how to treat you by the way you respect yourself. But even in the workplace, they have some doors that you can go through to curse people out, to teach, so you can teach them to say what you need to say. Make sure there are no cameras, and then you could put people in check like that. Because there's no need to have a public altercation, because now you're going to be the angry Black woman. You're the attacker. But there are ways to do things, and then I'll just say do it privately and respectfully. Respect women. Respectfully is relative depending on the situation. And also with certain situations, you just have to make it a teachable moment. And that's all I have to say on that topic.
True. The teachable moments are really good, and they bring you life, lots of life.
Yep, they absolutely
do. They absolutely do.
Jump in and say this about Stephanie, because I do on a
professional setting. The thing with Stephanie, though, where I believe she's received unapproachable, because she's a small woman. She's very quiet. She's very stern. And so where I think that's why I'm kind of leery about that word, that being intimidated. I'll give you an example. And Stephanie, I don't know if you remember this, but this was years ago. We all worked together, and our counterparts would come into offices when people left, and they would just, either get the chair, the better chair or whatever. And, this one particular time, and see, Stephanie, she's quiet, very, she does her work. She really doesn't, bother anyone. Very, very smart. And then one day, somebody had left the company. So Stephanie got the chair. Somebody came and got whatever. They came back and said something to Stephanie. And Stephanie she was like, oh, well, you can't take the chair. She says, well, when did that rule happen? She was like, they always done it. Such and such got this, and this. Now, see, that could have come off as angry Black woman, but it wasn't. What happened was, once again, the little quiet, like I call Black women, we're the little quiet unicorns. They weren't expecting for her to say something. And I think where it's perceived as maybe getting sassy, talking back, or whatever the case may be, whatever the perception was, she said it, which was the truth. Now everybody humada, but Stephanie was like, pretty much, it's not going to be a free for all. And then when I do it, it's like, oh, this is just unheard of. And so from that point on, I don't know what, I know Stephanie had that chair until she left. I
sure did.
She had that chair until she left. Now, if they decided to change the policy after Stephanie, that was the case. And so I think that right there is I think that sometimes people think that they're
Black women can be intimidating because they don't expect us to say anything. And then when we do, it becomes like, oh, I wasn't expecting for you to say anything. Well, I did. So now what are we going to do? So that was just a little thing.
Okay.
So true. Good memory.
Okay. So our last question for the night. How do we get protection? Is it by getting a gun license to protect ourselves when we don't have our Black men protecting us? And law enforcement isn't protecting us. How do we get our sense of protection back, since we are the most unprotected person in America, according to Malcolm X?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about what was said on the other show that was so heated? What was the discrepancy?
So there were Black men calling into the other show, saying, and I'll drop the link in, I'll send you guys the link. There were Black men calling the show, because it was the first show was all Black women. Well, he had two prominent Black women on the show, and some of the men were calling in. One man, he referred all the way back to the Bible, where women, we got to get in our place. Then there was another guy, he called in, he said, we are too aggressive and we're so angry all the time. And we're too outspoken, we get loud, they threw that, mad Black woman syndrome out there. And they always want to throw out that mad Black woman syndrome when we speak up. We are not our counterparts. Yes, we are very outspoken. We've always had to stand up for ourselves because the Black man was taken from our homes. So this is how, it was very, the podcast is very good. It was, it was supposed to have women calling in, but a lot of the men was calling in on the day of the women. I was sitting there like, okay. And then one brother said, he said, I love Black women. He said, I love y'all to death. He said, but y'all get mad and y'all let it rip. But he was, I felt like we was being put into this box. You may have experienced that with one or two or three Black women, and you put all Black women into this category. So I felt like that was a lot of that too. But it was a good podcast.
Yes. And I think that has been my challenge with our brothers. I'm curious, did any of the men folk, did they take any ownership of their stuff that we kind of go through? And this is why sometimes we are angry. And I'm not saying, if you're an angry woman, which I am not, I've gone to therapy for like 8 years and I've worked all that stuff out from childhood on up. So in all of the heartbreaks that I've had, it is what it is. You have the heartbreak, you go to therapy, you pray, you get it together, you move on. Right. So that's, so I'm very, very, when it comes to that, very healthy, but I do believe in holding people accountable. So yeah, we are, no one's perfect, and I don't think anybody's looking for perfection. But let's just say, I think that I can go out on a limb and say probably the majority of women, we probably believe in going to therapy and fixing ourselves before the man will actually do that. Right. So here's what's happening. As the women, we go, we get ourselves together, we find ourselves, we get, spiritual, we pray, we do all these things to work on us and to heal us and to, all of those things. But guess what? We're still running into those same broken men. So, and it perpetuates that, like it's a cycle. So at some point, the men, they got to take a look at, well, that probably wasn't cool that I did that to her. Not once do they pick up the phone and call and say, I'm sorry. They do the ghosting thing. I mean, I think that at some point men in general, really, it's cool. I understand we all, submission. I am that person. I will submit to my man. But I'm not going to submit to you if you're toxic. I'm just not going to do that. So I just was curious to see if perhaps any of the men called in and said, you know what? We have to take some ownership of why our women are so angry.
Now, the sister said that, one of the ladies on the panel.
Yeah, the sisters always
she said it's really a 50-50 because there are angry black men out here that nobody wants to own, wants to own. And yes, there are angry black women, but we move on. We press forward because we don't have a choice.
We don't have a choice.
But it's 50-50. But, it took for a black woman to say it. The brother didn't say it. I don't think
it's 50-50. I think it's 90-10. We move on majority of the time. Mm-hmm. The men, they aren't going to therapy. They're not trying to right their wrongs. Mm-hmm. All they doing is I'm going to do her wrong, then okay, and then I'm going to move on, and I'm going to do her wrong too, and then I'm going to go do her wrong, because you know why? Men don't like to be alone. So as women, we kind of are, because in slavery, they took the man from the home, so we are accustomed, we were born and raised to be alone. Men, nope, they were born and raised to you got to go sow your wild oats, go find that next, whatever. And so we are angry because we feel alone. Mm-hmm. Period. Most of the in the grand scheme of things, you're tired. Mm-hmm. Just tired.
And so you feel the need to protect yourself.
You've got to protect yourself. Who else gonna do it?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Who gonna do it? Who?
Your girl.
So I know. I'm 51 years old. I would love to settle down. Mm-hmm. Really. Mm-hmm. But at 51 years old, it is really challenging to find a brother. And I want to settle down with a brother. Would prefer that. They smell good. Okay? So, I just would love to settle down with a brother. But if I can meet a brother who at this age would like to settle down, really. Mm-hmm. And not be chasing skirts because they still trying to stay young, in the 40s and prove whatever they're trying to prove. It's really, and, don't come to me now in your 60s when things aren't working and you got to take all these meds and it's no, we're in our prime right now is when our children are grown. We could be a power couple together. You want a woman who's a partnership, right? You want that. But no, they don't. So it's they say what they say, but they don't, it's whatever they say, it doesn't match their actions. Okay. So therein lies the anger part.
Okay. Marcie?
May I digress for a second?
Yes,
sure.
So April was talking about the dudes, right? Yeah. So I need to tell you guys about a conversation I was having with a coworker she's 48 and she's looking for a mate. And she was telling me about a guy that she was communicating with. And she spoke to me 2 minutes about a conversation she was having. Do you know? Okay, she's 48. So I'm assuming he's 40 something or 50 something. Do you know this conversation was over text? I sat up there listening because I thought I was lost for a minute. And then I said, Cindy, was this a text conversation? And I said, no disrespect, but I'm annoyed just listening to this. This grown man cannot talk to you. And and she said, oh, he's handsome, he's established, but he can't talk on the phone. He can't communicate outside of text message. That's disheartening. And then another conversation, she said she went out with a different guy. He was 50 something and no job. And I'm just looking I'm with April. Is this what we have to look forward to? You're still broke. Well, he's broke and broken, but that's not okay. And I just wanted to digress. I even forgot what the topic was, but I just had to share that because
how do you want to protect yourself?
All I'm gonna say is raise your standards.
Okay. Oh, how do we protect ourselves? Honestly, I really don't have an answer for that because physically, yeah, we could have a gun, but that won't work against law enforcement. That only works if we're walking down the street and somebody comes after us and we're not afraid to shoot. I'm afraid to shoot, so that wouldn't work for me.
Okay.
Unless but I am going to get some practice. So if any of you ladies go to the gun range, I'll go with you.
Okay.
I'm really good with a gun, girl. Real good.
Okay, I'll meet you at the range.
Okay.
Stephanie.
Then, as far as other situations, I would just say prayer. We have to have a lot of prayer because, like I said, and then when you say protection, you have the protection from your mate, but then you also have protection, self-protection. So I'm going to speak on both. I already spoke on self-protection, but for those of us that don't have mates, I mean, I do have a mate, so I shouldn't say it like that. For the women who don't have mates, I would just say, be aware, have a lot of prayer, and because that's all I have for that topic.
Okay.
Okay. And self-awareness and self-respect, and then from there, I don't know, but it's all situational, so that's a general question. But that's all I got.
Okay.
I do not have good closes tonight.
I was just going to say, as far as protection, I personally wouldn't have a gun. I don't live alone. I have kids here, amongst other reasons. But for me, I am all about who's in my space, my circle. So I'm going to be looking for a tribe, as you call it, Latrice, that's going to, protect me, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually as well.
That's right.
And I think that's all you really need, in my opinion. If you have the right people in your space, they're going to be able to protect you because they're going to be able to, whether it's, help you make a decision, guide you in the right direction, support you when you are going through something difficult. That would be, my approach. But I'm more of the, I'm more of the meditate and all about the positive energy. And so I just couldn't see myself with a gun. Now, if you had known me 20 plus years ago, that would have been a different story.
Okay. Jeanee, welcome back.
Thank you.
So
I would have to say that, if I piggyback off of Stephanie, a gun is really not for me. And I don't really think it would work, as she said, with law enforcement. I mean, you're not going to pull a gun out on law enforcement because you're going to guarantee your death. So I also like the fact that she said the tribe, the village. You have to surround yourself with those positive people, as she stated. And also you have to be aware of your surroundings. How do you protect yourself? You have to protect your mind, your body, your spirit. You have to protect all of that. Because at the end of the day, no one really cares about how you feel. You have to make sure that you protect yourself. And that means not allowing toxic people in your space, not allowing it. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Tracee.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I had a question. Go ahead, Tracee.
I think, oh no. You had something you can say it.
I think that when I think of what listening to everyone and what people are saying about the protection piece of it, what does come to mind is like Sandra Brand or, Breonna Taylor and, the other young, just all of these senseless crimes by the police officers. So something has to happen. What do you do? What do you do? And I'm not saying that picking up a gun is the answer. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not above or beneath that though. I'm like right in the middle with the gun piece, right? Because I grew up that way. So, but how do you, so the question is, how do we as Black women protect ourselves? Mm-hmm. That's the question.
Yep.
Praying is great. Centering yourself is great. It is. I do those things. Go to therapy, I have a relationship with God. I have no toxic anything in my life. My tribe is solid. But that does not protect me physically. Mentally, yes, absolutely. But I don't know if the question is physically. Is that the question? Was it more?
Okay. Yes, by us being, Malcolm said we are the most unprotected person in America, which is the Black woman. And,
right.
The senseless, our counterparts can come in and, rough us up.
And grope us.
Yes. So how do we protect ourselves from that?
So you know how you protect yourself? You take it back to the streets, you put your hands on me, and you're going to see another me. Because I'm just not going to bow down and let anybody disrespect me physically or verbally. I'm just not going to do it. I'm a very professional woman. I can be the most, straight-laced, whatever. I definitely grew up in Compton, so there's that other side of me. So I just think that, and oftentimes it has nothing to do with don't go around. I live in Naperville.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with your surroundings. Sometimes people are just crazy and they will try you. So praying and all of that, that's great. But the reality of it is, that's not all the time. That's not the realistic situation. It's just not.
Defend ourselves. We have
gotta defend yourself. I'm gonna defend myself. I'm not gonna. I just am. Because we've seen enough. It's enough.
Tracee.
Let's see. I mean, you ladies, it's amazing, and I love what you've done, Latrice, because it appears that you've surrounded yourself with a lot of people of like minds, and so from the standpoint of the viewpoint of protection, it's just like each woman on this panel has stated, that there are so many things: physical protection, spiritual protection, financial protection, emotional protections. There's so many different things that need to be protected. But I will say this, that I think that first of all, God does have to be first, and asking for your spiritual armors from God to kind of get you through the day. But I think that when you're tapped into God, just because you're tapped into God and just because you meditate, I don't think that necessarily that means that you're not going to do anything, because if somebody comes for me, it is my right to protect myself. And if you gonna come for me, I have to protect myself. So how do we protect ourselves? First of all, we protect ourselves. It's in the sentence. How do we get protection? We protect ourselves, and we protect ourselves by being grounded spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and health wise as well. That's how you protect yourself. It's a friend of mine, his grandfather always says, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So the thing is that not letting your guards down. And I don't mean, always just on point, but just make sure that you're whole. And I know everyone's heard this example before, that when you're on an airplane and something's happening, they always tell you, the parent, to put on your oxygen mask first and then help your child. So how do we protect ourselves? If you are on point and you are clear and you are focused and you have your village around you, you're protected. But this is what I will say, that The thing is that and I like to flip it sometimes. What happens when your village is a good village, but who they're surrounding still wants to do what they want to do? So what happens then that you got this village that pours life into you, but you're always the one saying, but I think this one gonna be different. I think this one gonna be different. Or I think that, oh, well, she ain't really mean it like that. What happens then? Hence, if you don't protect yourself, you can't expect your village to protect you, because you're not even really respecting your village enough to say that, you know what, Latrice said this out of love, or Jeanee said this out of love, that so you have to learn how to know who and what you are. You have to know where you are deficient in, and that you may need, like I may need you, Latrice, to pull me when it comes to my finances. Say, Tracee, you know what? You too caught up in X, Y, and Z. You said you wanted to buy a new washer and dryer. So if you're going to hold me accountable, you're protecting me from that financial standpoint to say, you know, you're still doing the same thing you're doing. So how do we protect ourselves? Exactly with that. We protect ourselves, but you have to also trust yourself enough to know that your choices are okay. And hence not always going out for that validation, not always going out for that protection, because as April said, I'm in Naperville too, and people laugh. I got an alarm on I don't care. You live in Naperville. What you need? White folks break into houses too. Like, so it wasn't so much about me worrying about getting somebody to live with me, but you know what? By God's grace and mercies, that I'm able to afford a alarm. So set yourself up to win, and whether win or protect yourself, set yourself up to say, you know what? Okay, I've got to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to go on a date. How do we protect ourselves? I'm going to let Latrice know, okay, here's this, here's that, whatever. Let people know, because I think a lot of times we play our cards so close because we don't want somebody to know our business or whatever. And then by the time it comes out, we can't help you. We can't do something because you're so deep in that it's lost. I had a friend of mine who was in financial situation, and it literally, she would have come to all of us and asked for something, whatever. She wouldn't have lost her house, but her not wanting to say anything and her prideful, somehow her house got sold from under. It was very disheartening. But learning to protect ourselves, and trust our village, I guess.
Okay. Well, ladies, thank you for being a part of this discussion. My takeaway tonight is that we as Black women, we got to support each other. 2, we got to lift each other's up, and we got to start respecting ourselves and respect each other in order for us to become, not to be the most disrespected race in America. It does start with us, and we have to eliminate those stereotypes of being the mad Black woman, being overly aggressive, being too outspoken. We are who we are. They just gonna have to love us. If they're intimidated, so be it. We are strong Black women, and we need to continue to encourage one another, lift one another up, support one another, and it does start with us, so that we can eliminate this just horrible being so disrespected by men, society, and just all around disrespect. And it starts with us also educating our daughters, our kids, our boys. I don't have any boys, but I have a daughter, so I teach her respect. So that's one thing that we have to pass down. Knowledge is power. Education is power. So this was good. I really appreciate you ladies being a part of this discussion panel tonight on Sistah's Conversations Real Talk. Thank you. This was an hour. This was over an hour. This gonna be good.
Yeah, it was good. We could have probably gone another hour. It's great, really.
Yes. But thank y'all so much. Hopefully next time we can do a video one on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Well, y'all have a great night, and I will talk to you guys next time.
Okay, you ladies take care. Talk to you soon.
Week. Have a good week. Good night, everyone.
You too.
Good night.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks to our special guests for joining the show today. Be sure to follow us on your favorite streaming channel so you don't miss a show. We can be heard on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and YouTube at Sistah's Place. Visit our website, www.sistahsplace.com, to learn more about us.